What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Two Game Podcast. I am back with my review series for Daredevil Born Again, and sweet fucking Jesus, guys, peak Daredevil in episode number 8, which is what we will be recapping and reviewing this week. Man, I am so ready to talk about this episode. This was probably my favorite episode, like just through and through my favorite episode of the series so far. Right there next to last week's episode, episode 7. So if you have not caught up through episode 8, highly recommend pushing pause on this video and then coming back once you are caught up, because I will be talking full spoilers from this point forward. So episode 8, Isle of Joy. Dex is moved from solitary confinement to Gen Pop on Fisk's orders. Fisk also reveals his imprisonment of Adam to Vanessa and watches as she kills him. He promotes Blake to Deputy Mayor of Communications and invites Heather to his Black and White Ball fundraiser. Matt realizes that Fisk is Heather's patient, further straining their relationship as he contests her anti-vigilante views. At Josie's bar, Matt learns that Foggy was celebrating an impending court win the night that he died. Believing Fisk hired Dex to silence Foggy, Matt interrogates Dex and injures him. Dex later kills the doctor and a guard before escaping prison. At the ball, Fisk privately blackmails a bunch of socialites into supporting his port project. The commissioner speaks against Powell's torture of an infiltrating reporter. BB, who is aware of Wilson Fisk's involvement in her uncle's murder, asks Commissioner Gallo to help bring down Fisk and the anti-vigilante task force through whatever way possible. Matt deduces that Vanessa hired Dex to kill Foggy and confronts her. As Fisk starts to tell Heather that Matt is Daredevil, Dex arrives and shoots at Fisk. Matt jumps in front of the bullet and is critically wounded. The crowd panics as Heather tends to Matt, ending the episode. All right, so I don't even really know where to start with my thoughts on this episode. Just first and foremost, I think this is an episode that is so packed with tension, and I think a lot of it is credited to the editing of this episode, because a lot of this episode is just back and forth between Wilson Fisk and Matt Murdock. And it is just like, it makes you tense. It gives you anxiety. Like, it puts you on the edge of your seat. And the fact that you really don't know where any of this is going. And I think the relationship between Matt and Fisk through the first 3 seasons of the Netflix series, plus this season so far, I think is a huge credit to the development of these two characters and the relationship through the entire series so far that really adds to that tension, because Wilson Fisk is capable of anything. And at this point, Matt is at his most unpredictable, I feel like, in comparison to any of the previous seasons or previous episodes of Born Again. I think he's unpredictable at this point. So that adds another layer of tension, because you're sitting there wondering, like, damn, what the fuck is he about to do? Like, he's about to fuck shit up here in the middle of this gala, and Heather's right there, and is he about to out himself? I think he's so unpredictable right now that it just adds another layer of tension to this series that it may not have had prior to Born Again. I think this specific episode, you can just go ahead and say that these two characters, these two actors in this show, some of the best, I think, when it's all said and done, and you're looking at comic book movies as a whole, these two characters, these two actors are going to be part of the best villain superhero combo of any property ever in any comic book series. Those last 6 to 8 minutes of this episode was really where this episode ascended for me. Like, don't get me wrong, I think pound for pound, this is probably the best episode out of the bunch, for sure, right up to the last episode, like I mentioned earlier. But the last 6 to 8 minutes is really where this episode shines. And it just, all the back and forth between Matt and Fisk and the editing there, which kept you on the edge of your seat, just so damn good. I mean, we find out that Vanessa is the one that ordered the hit on Foggy. Matt saves Fisk, and then Fisk is about to tell Heather that Matt is being Daredevil. Like, Jesus, so much shit was going on in those last 6 to 8 minutes. It was almost to the point where it was too much stuff going on that it could have buckled under the weight of all of that, but it didn't. And then we have Dex up there ready to shoot Fisk, and you don't know what's going to happen. Like, you kind of assume when he's aiming for Fisk that Matt is going to jump in front of him. So that's probably not necessarily unpredictable in a sense, but what is so great about that moment is Fisk now owes his life to Matt. to Daredevil. And that just adds a whole nother dimension to this relationship between Matt and Fisk. Like, Matt has struggled with not killing this dude in the past, and the fact that he jumps in front of this bullet to save Fisk, I think this is going to add a whole new dynamic between Fisk and Matt. And honestly, that's going to set up the finale to where maybe we're not going to get a Fisk and Matt showdown in the finale. It's mainly going to be Bullseye and Matt. And how does that story get resolved? But as it stands right now, I think this is setting up a really, really amazing finale to season 1 of Born Again, and I can't wait to fucking watch it. All right, so let's talk about some of the other things that happened in this episode. Heather was very prominent in this episode. Her and Matt's relationship, very strained, and Matt's life is in fucking shambles at this point, okay? Since becoming Daredevil again, it's kind of interesting that he struggles with becoming Daredevil. Like, he doesn't want to open that bag again and bring out the cow and be Daredevil once again. So he struggles with it for the first half of the season. And I don't want to say he enjoyed being Daredevil again, but it seemed like it just felt right to him to be Daredevil once again. And then now that he's on the other side where he is Daredevil, it just seems like everything's fallen apart yet again, kind of like season 2 did for Matt's character. And then this season is no different. It just seemed like he was happy for like half of a second where everything kind of meshed together. And then now it's just all falling apart. And at the heart of all that is this relationship with Heather, which we have gotten a little bit more of her character over the last couple episodes, which I really appreciate because the show has struggled with side characters so far. And I think Heather, up to this point, is probably the most developed out of the bunch. But we're not doing a whole lot to make me care for her character at this point. Like, to me personally, I think she's more of a surface level character that, okay, like, if something bad happens to her, I'm not gonna riot, I'm not gonna be super upset. Now, what I like for her to continue with the series and for them to make her a more pivotal character going forward, sure, I'm all for it. But at this point, I just don't think they've done enough legwork with her character to really make me care about the outcome of her character in the finale. But what happens to that relationship between them two when she finds out that he is Daredevil? Like, she's gonna find out in the last episode, like, guaranteed. What I predict to happen is Bullseye is fucking pissed that he just saved Fisk, right? So he is going to go after Matt, and he's going to go after the woman that was right there tending to him, and he's going to try killing her. And then somehow, some way, she's going to find out that he's Daredevil in the finale. And what does that mean for their relationship going forward? Does she kind of look at the vigilante side of things a little bit differently once she kind of pieces everything together? Or is she just, nah, fam, I'm good. No vigilantes for me. You need to go seek help. I'm not there for you, kind of thing. Because let's be honest, our boy Matt was catching strays pretty much the entire episode from Heather when she is just straight up dogging this dude being a vigilante. I mean, granted, she didn't know it, but my statement stands. And then the last thing that I want to mention, and I've said this in a couple of episodes, and it was the episode, I forget which one, maybe it was 3 or 4, maybe it was 4, where we had the Leroy dude who stole the caramel corn. I kind of made a little comment like, why are we focusing so much on this where it doesn't really feel like it's developing anything? And we finally get a sense of where that arc is going. And I don't know if it was executed like the best way that it could, because all those previous episodes, those random scenes that we've gotten throughout the season that didn't really connect a whole lot of dots, especially with the overall story, but it's kind of connecting to Matt's arc here. He doesn't believe that they are serving justice. They aren't making a change in the world. And we have the scene with Leroy that I mentioned. Hector still gets killed by the cops out there that are still actively assaulting people. Like, no matter what happens, justice is not going to be served. Whether it's Daredevil intervening or whether it's the justice system trying to just do what it does. So all those scenes are kind of connecting to this arc very thinly, I think. I just don't think that was done very well over the course of the season. And that kind of goes to a further point of, I just don't think this season seems like it is a clash of ideals, okay? Like, it feels like two different teams wrote this shit and they scrapped it and they decided to go a different direction. Who's fucking heard about that, huh? Because that's exactly what the fuck happened with Born Again. And you can absolutely tell with just how uneven this season is in terms of character development and the story slash plot. I think you can tell that there were multiple people that just had their hands in the basket for this season. But apparently, like, the new team is the one that did the shit the last 2 episodes. So if it's anything like the last 2 episodes, which is going to be what carries forward, then I'm 100% for it. But it just seems like they just struggled to piece this shit together to make it good. And granted, I still think it's good overall, but this could have been so much better if maybe they just scrapped everything and just started from the very beginning. And there's also that little tidbit that this was supposed to be, 16 episodes versus 9 episodes. So there's a lot left on the cutting room floor there in terms of development. Maybe these side characters would have been better had it been 16 episodes versus the 9. But nonetheless, I think this episode was fantastic. One of my favorite episodes of the season for sure. But regardless, I am super excited for the finale. And after the finale, I'm thinking about going back and just doing a complete season 1 review, get all my thoughts out there. I've been kind of hitting these points with every episode, but I would love to just get all my thoughts out after the season as a whole has been done, and whether or not my opinions about it have changed. I don't know, maybe watch it again. I don't know, but I'll decide that at a later date for sure. So guys, let me know down in the comments below of what you thought about episode number 8. Where does this rank on your list of favorite episodes from this season? Let me know down below, and I will catch y'all next week on another episode. Laters.